Okay, so this video today is looking at ways to sort of combat or help some lower back pain. So we're going to look at 3 areas. The first one being a bit of posture, second one looking at activating your abs or your core, and then last one looking at activating your glutes. These are some common areas that usually are either a little bit weak or a little bit tight, that we can help to open up and activate, that helps take a bit of the pressure from your lower back and put it where it should be when you're doing things like squats or lunges or ab work on the floor. Whatever it is, if your lower back is super tight, glutes aren't helping out, a lot of the time all you're going to feel is lower back. So starting off with a bit of postural work, first thing that we look at is breathing. So getting, a lot of the time in some of the Say Yes classes, we'll start with some breathing. So just getting in touch with how you're breathing, making sure you're breathing through your body and not just doing short, sharp breaths at the top. So helping everything to relax as well. We can start from our hands and knees. And what I want you to do is push your lower back, or push your upper back, all the way up to the ceiling. Almost like you're kind of rounding through right up the top in that upper back. And then without bending at your elbows, see if you can then squeeze your shoulder blades together. So you're pulling your shoulder blades together at the back and then pushing them away. So the shoulder blades are going to come in tight and then open up. So that top position, they're open, and as you pull in, they come in together, and you should feel a nice squeeze through the middle of the top of your back. So you push all the way up, keep the elbows straight, and squeeze those shoulder blades, pull the shoulders back and down. So we want to make sure also that we're not kind of tilting through the pelvis, so try and keep a nice straight flat back. Push up, come all the way down, drop in and squeeze. For a shoulder floss, we can either use a band, we can use a towel or a broomstick if you've got a broomstick at home. And all we're going to do is hold towards the edge of the band, so you've got enough space to just lift that band all the way up over the head. And then we're going to keep going, if you can, if you've got the mobility, all the way around. So it comes all the way down the back. And then nice and carefully we're going to lift all the way back up to the front. So this one just helps to open up the shoulder, open up the chest. You might feel a bit of a chest stretch as you come around to the back. So if things are really tight and you're kind of hunching through here, the chest gets really tight and the shoulders come forward and everything's kind of pushed forward. So this just helps to open all of that out. Stretch it out. Just go nice and slow, don't need to rush this. If you find you've got a broomstick and it's not stretching and you can only get to here, just take it to there and then pull it back. So we just want you to go where it's comfortable. We don't want you to force something around. So just go to what feels good. So come all the way down, lay on your back, stretch the legs out long, pick a leg. We're going to come up and then tilt that knee across the body. Then we're going to bring the arms to the same side. So arms come out to the same side. The top arm, we're going to pull it all the way back. So elbow comes towards the floor as if we're about to fire a bow. And then we come knee back across. Same again, so pull that elbow all the way across. Feel that twist. And then bring it back. Same on the other side. So take one knee over. Both arms come to the same side. We draw that elbow back towards the floor and then pull it all the way back. Same again. Pull back. Bring it forward. Perfect. See? A lot of the time we tend to be in this kind of position. So our hips are forward. Where we want to be is in a nice kind of straight line. So everything's nice and stacked, meaning that the back's not working hard to stand here. When we're in this position here, it loads up our lower back. The glutes aren't doing a lot, abs aren't doing a lot. Quads and back are working quite hard to hold us here. So what we want to think about doing is if we over exaggerate this part that we find quite easy, and then slowly try and tuck those hips under and tuck that butt under. You can go as far as you can. You'll start to feel your abs working to hold you there, and your butt might switch on a little bit as well. So laying down, go feet up, so knees are up, feet are flat on the floor. From here, I'm going to create an arch in my back so I can get a hand under my back. There's space under there. Now from here, I'm going to try and close that gap, so I don't want to be able to fit that hand underneath. So I'm going to slowly tuck the pelvis under and push my lower back into the floor. You might feel again your abs start to turn on here. You might feel your butt start to turn on a little bit as well. So we're going to squeeze and hold that position and then slowly take it back up so I can get my hand under there again, and then push it all the way down. So now the hand's not going to get under there. So I'm locking, pushing that back into the floor. So you can do this standing, kneeling, or laying down. Try a go on all of those, see how it makes a difference in those different positions, see how much control you have in those different positions, because that's really going to help when you do some of those different exercises. Either from a kneeling plank or a high plank. So if you go into a plank to start with, and then drop the knees, that's the kind of position we want to be for a kneeling plank. We don't want to be here because then our abs aren't working at all. So go into your high plank and then just drop the knees from there. And I just want you to hold this part here and see if you can feel those abs working. We don't want to feel it in the lower back, so I'm going to squeeze my butt and I'm tensing my abs. I'm just holding it here. If you want a little bit more, take it into a full plank and then you'll really start to feel your abs working. Hold for about 5 seconds and then drop down to the knees. So we only want to hold that plank as long as we can feel it in the abs. If we start to feel lower back, we definitely want to drop that plank down. We don't want to push through and keep going with the plank if you're not feeling it where it's supposed to be. Laying down, taking the legs, so knees are over the hips, so kind of like a 90-degree angle, and all you're going to do is tap one foot down and pull it back up. Now while you're here, we want to make sure again that lower back is into the floor. So if the lower back is popping up, really try and tilt those hips, engage the abs and push the lower back down. As you then take one foot down to the floor, make sure that lower back doesn't pop up at all. So take it as slow as you need to. If that's still popping up, then come in a little bit closer, or take it right back to the tilts. Keep working on those tilts. If you want a slightly harder option, keep the feet all the way out, slowly drop one leg down, and then lift up. Drop the other leg down, lift it up. Making sure the whole time that that lower back stays pushed into the floor. At any time if you feel that lower back coming up, take a rest, get the abs back. So usually what happens is your lower back feels that things are starting to get hard, so your abs relax, your lower back kicks in and takes over. We want it to be the other way. We want those abs to keep working hard and keep fighting. So if you're feeling that lower back come in, best thing to do is rest, let everything reset, and then go into it again. So another reason why we can feel our lower back pain or feel really tight in our lower back is because our glutes aren't working as effectively as we want, as well as the abs. So a couple of moves here to activate your glutes, to get your butt switched on so you can feel it working in a lot of our lower body moves. We're going to start with just a hip raise. So from the hip raise, we want to go back to those tilts. We want to make sure we don't have that arch where we can get the hand under. So push that lower back into the floor. This is where we want to start our glute bridge or hip raise. So we're going to try and squeeze our butt and then lift our hips all the way up to the ceiling, squeezing the butt as hard as you can. And then as you lower, think about kind of dropping each vertebrae of the spine down to the floor at a time until you're all the way back down. That's going to help prevent that tilt in the back, because we don't want to do our hip raises where we've got a big tilt and we're just keeping that tilt and it's just the butt that touches the mat each time. We want the whole lower back to touch the mat at the same time on the way down. So tilt, abs are on, squeeze the butt, lift those hips, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze those glutes together, and then as you lower, drop each vertebrae down to the mat so everything comes down together. So coming into a sitting position onto the side, we're going to stack our knees and stack our feet, and then we're going to lift that top knee up and slowly lower back down. We can do this from the elbow as well if needed, lift and lower. If you've got a band, you can pop the band up around the knees. That will help provide a little bit of extra resistance so the butt works a little bit harder to lift and lower. Or if you don't have bands and you've got some dumbbells, you can hold a dumbbell here to provide that extra resistance, or you can just place your hand there and push down a little bit as you open and close, just to provide that extra little bit of resistance to help get those glutes pumping and firing a little bit quicker. Back into a standing position. You can grab hold of a bit of wall or chair for a bit of support. We're going to turn our foot so it's on an angle. So we're going to take it onto a diagonal, so toes are pointing out on the angle. From here, we're going to tuck everything under, so back to those tilts again. So hips come under, I'm squeezing my butt, my abs are on, and I'm going to lift, take that leg back, and then pull it back in. So toes are facing out, lift back, come back in. And it's not about how high we can get that leg, because as soon as we take that leg up high, we lose that nice strong core hold, and we start to arch through that lower back. So tuck it all in, squeeze the butt, and we just want to lift to where we can feel the butt working. Everything's staying nice and still through the back and through the core. Just lift, squeeze, relax to lower. So there can be a lot of other causes for back pain. We can look into things such as hamstrings, hips, quads, ankles, but for now, if you focus on these three, you should start to feel a little bit of improvement in your back.